Welcome back. Lesson number 3. You're here, so that means you're still moving along and you're really excited about this thing called Power BI. Welcome back to lesson number 3 in the power of the BI. We're going to keep moving as we have been. We're still not ready to really start building dashboards just yet. There are a couple of other things that we need to really get ironed out before we start moving into the real nitty gritty of this thing. So again, we're working on some very basic concepts here before we really get started into getting into what we call Power BI. Again, Power BI stands for business intelligence, just like artificial intelligence is AI, and business intelligence is just the precursor, as we said before, for artificial intelligence. But trust me, as of today, they are working hand in hand. It's not necessary that you know right now artificial intelligence. It's not necessary that you feel like you need to know everything artificial intelligence. And trust me, a lot of people think that artificial intelligence is Chat GPT, which it is artificial intelligence, but it's only a small part of artificial intelligence. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about business intelligence, Power BI, and we're here in the class of the power of the BI. So with that said, not to waste any of you guys' time, I know you have other things that you could be doing. So we're going to move right into it. In this particular lesson, in lesson number 3, we are going to be focusing more on, what are we focusing on for lesson number 3? We are focusing more on DAX. We're focusing on facts, dimensions, and measures here in lesson number 3. You're like, what is facts? What is a dimension? What is a measure? So here's the deal. There are a lot of tech skills out there that you can learn that are considered to be no code. That's not necessarily what BI is, Power BI is. There are some tools out there that you can use that you don't really need code. And in Power BI, that's just not the case. You are going to need to understand some code, and that code is called DAX. It's data analysis expressions. It's not very, very tough. We're going to learn some of the basic code in order to be successful in Power BI. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your knowledge of the basic code and really advance yourself here in coming months and weeks and years or whatever it may have you after you finish this class. But you are going to have what it takes in order to go out there and compete for that 6-figure salary that you're looking for. So don't think that you need to know everything DAX. Don't think that this is going to be some code heavy class. It's not. I do have another class that is focused primarily on DAX, but that's not something that what you need. It's more of an advanced DAX class. But right now, what you're getting here are the basic skills of Power BI, and it is going to require you to be very knowledgeable, not just somewhat, but very knowledgeable. I don't want to make it seem as if you're not going to need to be knowledgeable. You're going to need to be very knowledgeable of DAX. But once you understand the concepts of DAX, you're not going to have an issue. And even so, we do have a lesson coming up down the line that is going to be focused more on DAX, focused primarily on DAX in this class, not just the advanced class that I'm teaching. But in this class, we are going to focus on some advanced DAX formulas and calculations. And the good thing about DAX is if you can use DAX in one report, you pretty much can take that same DAX and use it in another report. It's just going to be a matter of changing the name of the columns in DAX. Now, when I say changing the names of the columns in DAX, I mean that's something that we're going to talk about here in the very near future, but that's not what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we are just talking about the basics of what is DAX, what are facts, what are dimensions, and what are measures. So, with that said, we're going to come over and we're going to look at this spreadsheet, CSV file that we are able to bring in DAX, as you saw. Able to bring in the Power BI, as you saw before. We're able to bring CSV files or get data, and a CSV file is a source of getting data, is a source to get data into Power BI. And as we look over here, we can see that we have, in this CSV file, we have patient ID, gender, ethnicity, medical, let's see, medical, what's in that medical? Medical history, vital signs, laboratory results, medication usage, procedures, adverse, can't really see what that is, adverse events, length of stay, patient outcomes, and healthcare costs. So once we look at this, the first thing we want to analyze this data. And people, often ask me, so what is the first thing you do when you receive your data, or when you get data into Power BI? And the first thing that I do when I get data into Power BI is I once I bring the data in, I go over to the report view, and we'll talk about the report view here a little later in upcoming lessons. But the first thing I do is when I get data, I look in the report view, and when I look in the report view, this is actually what I see. I actually see this same these same columns, these same table, the same table. I see a similar table with similar columns as these, and I analyze in the first analysis that I like to make is, what type of data do I have? And I can see that I've got several different columns that are describing the data: the gender, the ethnicity. I can't even talk today. Vital signs, medication, procedure. Basically, all of these columns that are describing what I'm in for, what the patient is in for. They're describing what the patient is in for. Patient outcomes. These are things that are describing. They're non-numerical. They're describing what the outcomes are. So anything that's non-numerical is anything that's non-numerical is a dimension. Anything that's non-numerical, consider that to be a dimension, right? Dimensions describe the data that we're looking at. And the data we're looking at here is pretty much patient records. And these describe, for instance, the gender. What is the patient? The patient is a male. The patient is a female. The ethnicity is an African American, is a Hispanic, is a Caucasian, is an Asian. These are all things. These are all things that are describing the patient. What is this? Vital signs. What are the vital signs of the patient? What is the medical usage of the patient? What is the procedure that the patient is in for? What are the adverse events that brought the patient in? These are all things that are describing the patient outcomes. So what happened with the patient? The patient recovered. The patient was discharged. The patient recovered. The patient was discharged. These are all outcomes. These are all things that describe the record of the patient. Now, we have all the things that describe what the patient is in for. Those are all dimensions. A dimension just describes what is going on. Then we have two other columns. We have length of stay and we have medical care costs. The first thing I think about when I see a patient, well, the first thing I think about when I see the data that comes in and I'm analyzing the data, I want to know what are the facts and what are the dimensions. So we understand that the dimensions are describing the record. The dimensions are describing what's going on inside of the data. The facts are columns of the records that are new. Just real quick, I do understand that everyone is not going to be interested in Power BI, but you're out there looking for a tech solution, a tech opportunity for you to get into the way you can make that career change, that career pivot. So for those of you guys that are out there that are into looking for that tech change, I do have a free 30-day calendar, a 30-day calendar. As you can see here, it's 30-day. Well, it's not a 30-day calendar. It's a 30-day tech transition planner. And it gives you day by day for 30 days, day 1 through day 30, to where you can use these steps in order to determine what tech venture you may want to get into. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. If you're interested in this free 30-day calendar that I have, just go to the link below in the link below in this video, and just click the link, follow the link, and we will get you over the 30-day tech transition planner. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that. Now let's get back over to the webinar.